Hello, everybody. As most of you know, I typically put videos on Facebook of when I search rolls of coins and find something either big, unusual, or worth keeping. Um, Most of you guys know that throughout line I did give up Facebook, so I haven't been posting my findings on. So when the day comes when Good Friday passes, I'll be posting this video. But anyways, since the end of February all the way up till now, I searched through about $7,600 worth of change, and this is what I kept. And I will go through some of these findings, starting off with the big five is what I call them. These were the big five findings. Starting off with the wide rim on the left. And what that is I don't know if I can zoom in close enough, but on Susan B. Anthony's in the 1979 Ps, they have a wide rim on the outside, and basically if the space between the rim and the one on the 1979 is less than the width of the one, you have a wide rim. And generally they run about $40, and when they're in mint condition. This one is not quite in mint condition, although, for a dollar, it's probably worth more than a dollar, and I was really excited to find it. But anyways, I also found a 64 Ben Franklin half dollar that's 90% silver. I found a 1964 Kennedy that's 90% silver as well. But they started making half dollars with JFK's face on them in 1964 to honor his presidency, and they started this the following year after he had been assassinated in 1963. And there's the Ben Franklin, who was on the half dollars before him. I would say 1962. That's also 90% silver. And most of you guys know I spent a lot of time trying to find a 2019 W quarter. There were 10 million of them minted in 2019, 2 million of each park that they released. And after searching, I'd say probably 8 or 9 cases of quarters, I had finally found one. And then after searching almost 20 cases of pennies, I finally found an Indian head in the year 1905. So those were the really big 5 highlights. However, I did find some other stuff as well. But basically everything in this picture right here, these are all half dollar, 40% silvers. Now I do have more of them, however, they were not in as nice of a condition. All of these are at least in AU50 condition, which means they're going to be worth more than the junk silver price. Now, if I come up here, these half dollars, there's 14 of them. These were junk silver, is what I'd probably get for them if I took them into a coin shop. They'd give me maybe their the price of what the weight is in silver, which is, these are all 40% as well. So I did find a substantial amount of silver. And one case of half dollars, I found 21 of these half dollars. I think 19% or 19 of them were 40%. And then, of course, the other two that I showed you earlier, which were the 64 Kennedy and the 62 Franklin. I found all those in one box. It's basically the find of a lifetime. I was shaking as I kept finding them. And then right here, I have another something else silver. It's a 45p war nickel. Between 1942 and 45, the mint started substituting the nickel content in a nickel and started using silver because of the war. silver was a hot commodity. I'm sorry, nickel was a hot commodity, so they started substituting silver. So in 1946, they went back to using the nickel within a nickel. I found two silver dimes that were 90% silver, 163 and 164. Now, here are the proofs that I had found. And my son loves these because they're bright and shiny. But what's so special about these is that these are not meant to be circulated. Excuse me. These are minted in San Francisco. And somehow, whether somebody broke open a proof set and just started using them for circulation or for face value, I don't know, but somehow they ended up in these coins that I searched through, so I'm glad to take them. And then I found some foreigners. These are non-Canadians, which I will get to those finds in a moment. But found some coins from the UAE, Singapore. Found a Swiss, part of a Swiss franc is 20 centimes. And I found two coins from Panama, the Centesimo. I am not sure if that's how you pronounce it, but found two of those. And then, of course, at the top, here's all my junk silver. That includes 4 war nickels that weren't worth sleeving because they're probably only going to be worth their weight in silver. And then some heirs that we had found. I had 2 $50. On the back of them, on the design of the back, in really small print, I'll try to maybe flip one of these junk silver coins over. I don't know if you can see it or not, but this camera won't focus. But anyways, on the back, right under where my thumb is, there is the designer's initial of FG. Can't remember who the name of the designer is, but I had 2 coins that had the no FG. And so I sleeved those. And then every once in a while, I'd say probably about 1 out of every 5 or 6 cases I find a 2005 Kansas. And I'll try to zoom you in here. But the "In God We Trust," some of the letters are either missing or misstruck. And like this one says "In God We Rust." This one says "In D We Rust," so the G and the O are missing off, and as well as the T in trust. And then the G is missing on this one. "In Ode we rust," or "In OD." Now, I found some pretty old nickels. Not worth a whole lot, but yet for 5 cents, I usually just hold on to them. I've got 6 in the 1938 and 39s. I found 60 in the 1940s, and then 27 in the early 1950s. I usually skip 1953 because there's really nothing special about it. And every once in a while, I'll find a 55S, but I didn't find any this time. But pretty much anything newer than 1955, I simply just don't keep. They're just way too common, and just throw them back. It's not worth the 5 cents of keeping. I found 75 wheat pennies. The earliest year I found in this stack, I don't have it out, but 1910 was the earliest date I'd found. That's, I believe, 1 or 2 years into the wheat penny making. Now, the $50, I found 42 what they call NIFCs. These are years 2002 and newer. NIFC stands for not issued for circulation. And those, basically what happened is the mint was selling these for $1 a piece. just trying to make a little bit of money, and they were probably either came as a gift. I think Numismatic News one year did give these away free if you subscribed. But of course, it's really, in their really good condition, maybe worth a buck or two, nothing more than that. It's just that what's rare is that anywhere from 1.5 million to I think one year they did up to 4 million of these. I can't remember what year that was, but they're just not. You just don't find too many of them. There is another year which I kept 2 of these, and that's 1987, that they made 3 million of them, and they weren't issued for circulation. They were sold in mint sets. But as many boxes as I've looked through on half dollars, this is the first time I've run into any 1987s, and I was lucky enough to find 2 of them. So not necessarily now, but probably in a matter of 20 to 30 years, I imagine these NIFCs are going to be rare. So I'll hold on to a few of them, but more than likely, in the end, a lot of these are probably going to make their way back into circulation. Because really, I'm only wanting to keep about 2 of them. And then here's some other half-dollar finds where these were in uncirculated condition, and anytime you can find a half-dollar in uncirculation, it's worth holding on to. Here are some quarters that I've kept. A lot of these are state quarters that were in uncirculated condition. Someday I'll update my my state quarters album, and I'll replace these with some of the ones that aren't in as good of shape. And here's some other years of quarters that are in uncirculated condition that I'll probably hold on to. And then here is some of the oddities I found. Toys for Tots Marine Foundation. I think that was in some quarters that I found. Chuck E. Cheese token. And then this one here, actually, I think this was a minting an error done at the mint, and I can tell just basically because the ridges are still on the side. If that would have been cut or sliced, those ridges would not be there. So that was kind of a neat find. And then, of course, this one right here doesn't appear to, I don't know, when I look at it, it's not, sorry about that, doesn't appear to be artificially altered, so that's a misstrike at the mint, more than likely. And then, as far as the Canadian coins, I found 85 cents worth. Basically 10 nickels and 35 pennies, and I'm holding on to those just basically because someday when I do retire, I'm going to save all this Canadian money and then take it to the bank and up there, and then I think my wife and I'll probably just go gamble it away at a casino. It'll be a trip saved for when we retire. So, and also I do have a couple of Canadian coin books that are for pennies, so I'll probably go through there and update that album. So basically, overall, like I said, $7,600 worth of change I searched through, and I saved just under $64 of it, so less than 1%. So, yep, I kept the $64. The rest of it is back at the bank. So if you guys got any questions or would like to comment on this video, I'd like to hear from you. Some pretty good finds. So until next time, stay safe, stay healthy.